What's the headline from week 2?
Well, the headline's Tua and the Dolphins,
Damn
man.
straight.
I mean, like, we knew they were a playoff team probably, even in an AFC that's really tough. I think most people, I would say, picked them to finish ahead of the Pats and take a step forward. But Mike McDaniel, man, like, they ran those DBs who were kind of hurting and thin, in Baltimore, with guys having to reshuffle, guys just coming back from injury. They ran them all over the field. I mean, I was looking at a next-gen stat that these guys ran like, 6,000 yards in total as a group. I mean, a ton of go routes. I think Waddle had more yards on go routes yesterday than he has in a long time. And Tua, man, like, this is – you don't want to play out of phase like that. You don't want to have to throw 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You don't want to spot teams 21 points. I mean, like, as evidenced by some of the statistics you saw, like, it's just so unlikely to come back in a game like that. So you don't want to do this with regularity, but this was a really good sign. And, I know that there's been kind of some back and forth that I've been on one side of with Tua throwing the deep ball, and he hit a couple of those yesterday. But the thing that really impressed me about Tua was the red zone stuff. 3rd and 13 to Gesicki. He made one play throwing to Craycraft down in the low red where he spins out the back of the pocket, and it looks like a Mahomes play. So a big confidence booster for him, especially for the fact that, that team responded. I mean, his completion over expectation, I think in the first half was -14. So, like, the second half of that game was big. And then Baltimore, man, that secondary is going to be a problem this year. Like, you lose Fuller. You've got guys shuffling around. Kyle Hamilton wasn't great. But more than anything, the running backs, you didn't get much out of them. They had multiple opportunities to close that game out, and in short yardage, usually from a Baltimore team, not only are they not going to give the ball back at the end of the game when Tucker kicked that field goal, but they're going to convert on 4th and short, not only early in the game when they fumbled, but late. So tough game for the Ravens, but it should be about the Dolphins yesterday. That was a really great performance.
Well, I mean, the question is as you know, we always in this world of the NFL media, now that it is an overreaction Monday, and I'm going to have that segment shortly. The question is how deep a threat are the Dolphins in terms of the playoffs? And for the short term, I didn't think you could have a battle joined within the division with the Bills. Certainly with the way that they can put points up. The Dolphins showed they could put points up with the Bills or the Chiefs. I mean, is the conference a doable thing, do you think, for the Miami Dolphins, Chris Long?
I mean, you never want to say never because obviously, I didn't think the McDaniel boost would be this impressive this early in the year. But I think we'll know a lot more in a couple weeks, and I think that's okay to say. I mean, the Bills, they got them this week. They're hosting the Bills coming up, and then they're going to go to the Bengals. And the Bengals, man, buy them low. I mean, Joe Burrow didn't have a training camp, that offensive line. You think about O-lines now trying to get together, new pieces. Doesn't excuse the performance, but you get 3 preseason games now. You don't get a lot of time on the field. So I think we're going to know more about, the Dolphins in the next couple of weeks. I want to see them win games in phase. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, hey, listen, great comeback, but, whoop-de-doo. It was a great comeback, and they deserve to be lauded for that. But they're going to play some tough teams over the next month, including the Vikings. Oh, and the Jets. Your Jets. The Jets, you're never safe against the Jets. 13-point lead, 2 minutes to go. So the next month, Rich, is going to be we're going to find out a lot about the Dolphins. And Tua seems like a great kid. And obviously there's been a lot of people that have criticized him, myself included. I'm happy that he looks happy down there. And Waddle and Hill, a lot of yak, a lot of dink and dunk. But then if he can hit those balls that he did late in that football game, deep down the field, and he can be efficient, which he was last year as a guy throwing the ball over 20 yards down the field. If he can mix that in, then the sky's the limit for the productivity of that offense. But I want to see them win games in phase and against good teams regularly.